Hey everybody, this is Ryan L. Smith, founder and creator of Mythic Quill Studios, Mythic Quill Publishing, and the author behind Phineas Fitch and the Curious Chest and Whispers of the Fallen. First of all, I hope everybody's doing well and they had a great Thanksgiving with their loved ones, and I thought I'd take a moment to sit down with you all today before the holiday and give you a little 2025 year-end review if you'd be so kind to indulge me. First of all, I know everybody's patiently waiting for books 2 of the Phineas Verse and the Echoes of the Emerald Vale series, and they are on their way. Please hang in there with me just a little bit longer and we'll get them published. And honestly, there is so much more coming in 2026. 2 tentative book signings planned for January and April, with even more on the horizon as the year unfolds. A new book that I think you'll absolutely love is set for February or March. Another 2 projects are in the work as well that were revealed in summer 2026. We are also working on some very cool merch centered around books, around the creative studio, and the publishing ecosystem. One of my commitments to you is that we are refining smoother distribution paths to get these stories into more hands, more formats, and more places like bookstores, libraries, and hopefully a much larger expansion down the road. And yes, campers, I may even try my hand in an audiobook. I know, shocking, right? Before we get into all that juicy goodness, let's step into the flow of this year together. And for anyone listening, this is the part where you'll get up, you'll walk over to the record player, you hit stop, you flip the vinyl, you grab a beverage or a sandwich, you take a quick bio break, and then you put the needle for side 2. I'll wait. How 2025 began. When I think back to the beginning of 2025, the first word that comes to my mind is building. Lots and lots of building. In the beginning, there were some long, intense, coffee-fueled nights where I didn't go to bed at a decent time, and more often than not at all. It was long enough to make my physician raise an eyebrow at my last checkup mid-year. But after I explained everything going on, he worried a little less. But at the same time, I think he was amused and impressed and overall mightily concerned all at once that I might have been pushing myself a little too hard. And that's the crux of it. It's easy to push yourself too far during feverish bouts of creativity. Look, I'm going to be the first to tell you, the rush of cranking out content and ideas was addicting. However, once you cross that line of how hard you can actually push your body with no sleep, it seems to take twice as long to recover and get your momentum back. I'd like to think at this point, I've learned to balance it a little better, and most days I have learned that the adrenaline of creation does not always pay off immediately. It's the long game that actually matters. All those creative sessions stacked up over the year, and before long I was burning the candle at both ends almost every night. Honestly, it still feels like that some days, just not as intense. The real challenge is deciding what to tackle each night when the list is a mile long. Do I focus on the studio? Do I handle publishing tasks? Do I crank out a few chapters or whatever book I'm working on at the moment? Or do I follow whatever crazy idea my squirrel brain is chasing at that moment? Most nights it was completely dealer's choice and completely random. Just making things up as I went. But before we go forward, we have to go back. And at first, 2025 did not begin with momentum at all. It began with figuring things out piece by piece. I wrote most of the books in late 2024, but only after the loss of my older brother. That single life-changing event broke me down pretty effectively. I was not ready for something like that. But after I took stock of a few things and changed my lens on life, I truly believe God helped me rekindle that creative spirit that I stopped listening to long ago. I wish I never would have stopped listening to it. But now I was stuck. I had no idea how I wanted to publish the books. I had no idea about the landscape of traditional publishing, agents, submissions, contests, scams, advice from friends, self-help books, self-publishing options. It was literally overwhelming and at the same time extremely scary. It was scary because I had created something that I thought was pretty decent and pretty real. It was absolutely real to me, and I didn't know if it was good, if it was bad, if it was brilliant, if it was self-indulgent, something in between, or complete crap. I only knew that what I had begun to create mattered to me. It mattered deeply and truly. It could have been a combination of everything that had happened after the summer of 2024 and it just compounded to a breaking point. But when I finally committed to doing something, everything changed. I remember standing on that proverbial cliff. I had a choice. I didn't have to do anything. I could have played it safe. I could have backed up. I could have just went back to the never-ending grind, to just doing whatever. I didn't. I took a step, and in that moment, I decided to start the studio. It set off a chain reaction. Writing, publishing, world building, business operations, everything began to move at once to a central point I couldn't quite see yet, but I just knew I needed to go forward. And it wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't easy. Many early mornings and late nights were spent learning tools, cleaning metadata, trying to understand what Mythic Quill Studios and Mythic Quill Publishing could become, what I wanted to become, what I wanted to do with it, how I wanted to do things. And it was rough, but it was foundational. And all of this was happening while I worked a full-time IT job and tried to be present as a husband and dad. Some days were balanced, some days were at complete chaos. But seeing my kids watch me chase something reminded me of why this all mattered in the first place. And my wife saw a side of me, a drive and determination that I hadn't really shown before. I learned a lot about publishing. Patience, letting go of perfection, and trusting the long game, even when it feels like you're building in the dark. Rome was not built in a day, and neither was this. Hell, who am I kidding? I'm still building it, right? Like, this is a work in progress. And actually, that's okay. Between writing 2 books, refining a creative ecosystem, building a creative studio, a publishing imprint, handling legal frameworks, and developing operational infrastructure, yeah, I'm a little frazzled. So why don't we get into the timeline of 2025 and how it unfolded? In February, Mythic Quill Studios and Mythic Quill Publishing officially opened. Got the stamp LLC, trademarks, the whole 9 yards. And the vision then became real, and it was go time. In April, I launched RyanLSmithBooks.com, which would give everything a home for all the creative work and a lighthouse for readers. In May, I spent an extensive amount of time refining the core structure for the studio and publishing workflows. On July 4th, which was Independence Day, was the launch day for the first 2 books, Phineas Fitch and the Curious Chest and Whispers of the Falling. It was Independence Day. It was Independence Day in a lot of ways. And both were launched on Kindle Unlimited through September, so readers could actually read the books for free. October was the time for visual transformation when both book covers for both books were redefined and redesigned to reflect the tone of each world that was created. And November 1st, I had my very first book signing as an author at Half Price Books, and which was an absolutely endearing experience. The manager, assistant manager, and staff were absolutely phenomenal, and it was awesome meeting all kinds of people. Later in November, both books became available through Ingram Spark, were officially registered with the Library of Congress, and opened the doors to more bookstores and libraries and academic spaces. So let's talk about creative growth in 2025. This year, I rediscovered my true writing voice, and I leaned deeper into atmospheric fantasy, sci-fi, fiction, and gothic tones. I opened old boxes of half-written stories, fragments, scribbles, some hilarious, some cringeworthy, and some deeply inspiring. And for better or for worse, I evaluated everything I had with my newfound lens, kept what I thought was, pretty good, and it mattered. And then in some defiant act of whatever, I burned the rest. I just let it go. It was actually kind of, freeing? Maybe is the word I'm trying to think of. Yeah, freeing. That whole out with the old, in with the new thing. Yeah, it works. It totally worked. However, though, I kept all the TTRPG stuff. Yeah, I still have my level 14 Wood Elf Ranger, and I'm not giving that one up. And toward the end of the year, I went through and strengthened both series, finished more outline material, redefined some of the old outlines for Phineas Fitch and the Curious Chest and Whispers of the Falling to where we want to go in 2026. making sure that the polish and the series were on point. And then also in November, I devoted a significant amount of my time to the upcoming 2026 book, a project born from a poem that demanded a much larger canvas. Remember those side projects I was kind of hinting at? Well, the poem that came from the side project gave way to the actual novel coming out in 2026. So it's all kind of coming all together. It's kind of crazy how that stuff works, isn't it? And toward the end of the year, finally the creative side of the business started to move in harmony, finally. My goal was never to just write books. It's always been to build worlds and create a home for readers who love wonder and mystery and quiet gothic atmosphere, along with sci-fi and fantasy. So to everybody who bought a book, shared reviews, or encouraged me, thank you. You help these stories breathe, and I deeply appreciate it. So looking ahead to 2026, we have a couple of book signings coming up, which I'm excited about. The biggest momentum ahead is the release of the new Gothic novel in February or March. It's a quiet, atmospheric, emotional, and deeply personal to me. More events are coming. I've been working with different businesses to try to do some more author signings, different venues, not just bookstores, but coffee shops, cafes, things like that. And that ecosystem that started from nothing is slowly growing. The foundation is set, and the next chapter is beginning in 2026. It's going to be a great year. So in my closing words, I'd like to thank all the local businesses who opened their doors this year to me. Half Price Books and others who helped these stories grow. Phenomenal work and phenomenal support in your local author community. Thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. And I can't not thank my friends and family. They were behind me the whole way. Lots of encouragement and lots of love. If 2025 taught me anything, it's that you don't need perfect conditions to begin anything. You just need to begin, and you need to do something. You can't just stand there. You gotta do. You gotta move. You gotta take that jump. So my promise for 2026, I will keep showing up, I will keep building, and I will hope that you walk this road with me. So stay connected at mythicquillstudios.com, mythicquillpublishing.com, and ryanlsmithbooks.com. I am grateful for this year, for 2025. I am excited for the one ahead in 2026. There is more to come, and until then, take care and keep that lantern lit.